Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
And good morning to you, Doc.
Hey, good morning. How's it?
I'm trying to be good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What I want to say as I wrap up my commentaries leading into the election, I have observed, I've listened, and I really think that a huge mistake is being made. Both by the parties in terms of what they're projecting and also the electorate that is becoming so emotionally invested in the election. I mean, voting is a wonderful exercise if you're democratic, right? But I think, and I heard the same thing being said on this station this morning, that vote as if, you know, your life is going to change or something like that over the next 5 years. And I think that's a mistake to project, whether you vote NDP or you vote ULP, you know, as if the life of St. Vincent depends on it. I happen to think that, yeah, you should go and vote, but I mean, this kind of passion that I see being exercised and as if, you know, basically the fate of your life depends on, and life in St. Vincent depends on how we vote tomorrow. I think that's a fallacy, and I think it's misleading.
Why so?
Well, truth be told, I've said this before on my commentaries. People who follow my commentaries all the time know that I've said that not the parties. Okay, this is about making SVG better. All right. And my position has always been, so it's not new, it's not about elections. My position has always been political parties cannot make SVG better. I am absolute on that, and I'm resolute also in that statement. Political parties absolutely cannot. Whether you vote ULP or you vote NDP, don't be deluded there. And if you think that way, you are delusional to think that a political party can make SVG better. I have said before, and I will say again on the eve of election, you can keep the Labour Party in office in the hope that this is what is needed to keep to make SVG better, or you can change and vote for a change and vote NDP in the hopes that this is what is needed to make SVG better. And either way you go, again, that's delusional. Because change.
So then what is the point of the entire exercise in that case, Doctor?
Well, you have to have a government. I mean, you have to have a government. You have to have a government in place to run the affairs of the country. But I don't. What I am saying is that the kind of what we are invested in them and the kind of hopes that we have for them and et cetera, we have to do reality checks on this. And my position, if you hear me out, because I will be short, if you hear me out, you will understand where I'm coming from. My position has been, if we continue to mistakenly look to the political parties to make SVG better, we will be running a vicious cycle or a circle of getting nowhere. I think that the real thing, like I've said before, and I think it is worth repeating, the thing that gets SVG better is not changing political parties, frankly speaking. The thing that gets SVG better is changing ourselves. You can change political parties or put political parties and keep them there until you're blue in the face, until you're just into a pretzel. You are not going to change St. Vincent if people don't change. We are the ones who need to change. So no matter what you do tomorrow at the polls, whether you vote ULP or you vote NDP, no matter what you do tomorrow, no matter what the outcome is tomorrow, St. Vincent cannot change if its people don't change. And there's a lot that needs changing that cannot be changed at the polls. And this is where I am going with this, JP. The change that St. Vincent needs does not come at the polls, which is why I can't get people so vested and passionate about what has to be done at the polls. That is not what's going to change St. Vincent. I see a people that rarely, and St. Vincent is headed on a track that if we don't change, if its people, if its citizenship doesn't change, then no matter what is done at the poll, we are headed in the wrong direction. And I don't have the time to unpack all that comes with that change. But again, it's basically our social capital. The parties, therefore, the political parties are not accountable for the social capital of St. Vincent. The quality of the people, the quality of their civic responsibility, their citizenship, how we forgive, which is a big, big thing, so that we can have social solidarity. You don't get that at the polls, so stop it. How we do good to other people, how good are we? What's the index on our reconciliation when we have differences? How adept and skillful as a people are we in negotiating differences of opinion and thought? These are the things that will lift our citizenship and make St. Vincent better. What is the level of our responsibility with the resources we have? How do we manage them? People said that anything you give to a Vincent, which I don't agree with, anything you give to a Vincentian in short order, it mash up. That might happen in one or two cases, but that's not the case. But that's the perception. We have to change this. What's our work ethic like? I see things in that arena that you can change government all you want. If when you get into the public service, no matter what government is in place, people show up an hour late and leave work an hour early and then stay on their cell phone for half of the day. There are too many things for me to itemize here. Changing governments or keeping government in place in the hope that this is what St. Vincent needs so that we can be on a good trajectory. That's a mistaken notion. And we are mistaken, again, totally misguided and deluded if we think what happens at the polls tomorrow is going to change St. Vincent. We better start looking like Michael Jackson said at the man in the mirror. When we look towards ourselves, rather than changing things at the poll, how about if we just change ourselves to make SVG better? That's my commentary for
Somebody's saying, thank you, Pastor. You're apparently expressing the sentiments that is actually saying this is so enlightening, And then somebody else is saying that the party elected that will govern the nation's affairs put policies in place that can affect the quality of life for the citizens. So, just a bit of responses there.
I just feel like the culpability, because we like to blame and say, well, St. Vincent is failing because the government is failing. St. Vincent is... No, and I think pointing at the government for whatever happens in St. Vincent, sometimes we do a disservice to the government. I really think that when we start looking at ourselves and realizing that the onus is upon us to change. This thing of projection, and from a psychological point of view, I don't have the time, but this thing of projecting does not help people to change their behavior. If you can find someone to blame for where we are, and the soft target often is the government that has the affairs of the country in hand, and all and sundry want anything that community center is totally dilapidated, windows broken, people pelt it with stones, or it's broken down or unkempt. People blame the government. Everything you blame the government. Hospital, people steal the resources, people pack up things and carry home, and when resources are needed, they're not there, people blame the government. Let me tell you, our problems are really people problems, and if we keep blaming the government, we're not going to change. We have to change us, and when we change, St. Vincent will change.
All right. Thank you so very much, Doctor.
Take care.
All the best to you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.